I've got my holes punched here in between where the rope holes will be. You can see I've got one stitch here already done, actually a couple of them, and I do a saddle stitch. So I'm going to go through here. Sometimes it's kind of tricky to line up these. Actually, it's better, it's sometimes easier if you come in from the back, or from whatever side you punch them in. I like to punch the holes from the back because that punch kind of makes the holes big on the whatever side you punch from. So I go from the back. That's one stitch. You want to pull on a saddle stitch, or what I've learned to do is keep it a little tight. If you keep it tight, you should be okay. What you want to be careful about is piercing your thread with your needle. Some people put the needles through at the same time, and I've poked myself enough that I do it this way. Just give it a little tug after each stitch, and you can see here these second two are a little bit loose, but that first one, since I've kind of kept it tight as I go, is pretty tight stitch, and it just kind of tightens them up as you go. Okay, I'm to my last two holes here, so I'm going to go through. I'm going to leave a little loop there, and I'm going to go, actually I'm going to pull that loop and this thread just a little bit, just get that thread out of the way, and stitch this back through. This one, pull that tight, and keep that loop there, and go through here. Now on this other side, got this loop, and this part I brought it back through here, so that's all the same thing. You see as I pull it. So I'm going to loop it through there, and then I'm going to pull it tight. I'm going to pull it through here, and then I'm going to tie it in a knot, and I'll probably come back later and make sure the knot is real tight, and I like to put just a little drop of super glue on there so it doesn't come loose. And then I'll move on to my next one. And there it is. Just need to trim off the parts on the back, and we'll be done with this head. Try my new punch. If you don't have one of these, you can use a drill, but you have to wait till it gets dry, and then you have to get it wet again to really tension on it. So this is going to save me some time. Right up close to the ring. Beautiful. Since this is stained and varnished, I don't want to use a file on it. You can also use a sanding block with some sandpaper. You're not going to take off a whole lot off this edge. You're just going to, just a little bit. And you can see there where I've taken some off. Maybe, I don't know if you can see that or not. You're just basically taking the sharpness off that edge. Just a few passes. I'm going to go all the way around both sides just to make it nice and smooth. Don't forget to take out your liner. You've put one in. You can see that the inside is nice and clean, thanks to my liner. No one will know that except me, but that's okay. It's time to put our head on. We've got both of them stitched up and the shell's ready to go. So I'm putting the head on with this rope. I have 100 feet of 3/8 inch braided cotton rope from knotandrope.com, and I've used them for a few of my drums, and they have great shipping and fast shipping and good service. So and it's pretty reasonable for cotton rope. So let's get started. You want to make sure that your drum is centered on your head. With a drum this big, you kind of have to do a walk around. Might have to adjust it a couple of times. Same thing for the top. Look underneath, make sure that it looks good. You want to make sure that your holes are offset from each other. So I have one hole here, so my next hole should be right about there. So when I rope this, you're going to go in a zigzag motion. So I'm going to take my rope, I'm going to go up from the bottom and over the top. If you do that for every pass through either head, it'll turn out properly. Alright, so you can see now that I've got a couple of passes here, I've got the zigzag set up, and you're just going to put it on real loose at first. That way you can adjust it, you can adjust the shell, you can adjust the heads. But you want to kind of get a zigzag going on right off the bat. I'm going to turn that just a little bit right there. So you can go all the way around with this, and then that will get us into our next step. Okay, I've got it all the way around here. I've got my short end, I've got my long end coming up to meet it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie an overhand knot on a bite. Doesn't have to be a big loop, because you just all you're doing is putting the other end of the rope through it. I'm just going to bring that up through here, and here's where you're going to use a lot of rope. Actually, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get this, you're going to go all the way around your drum, and you're going to give it kind of a first tightening. Best way to do that is just pull it there. You can see you're going to get a fair amount. It doesn't have to be real tight. It's just your first little stretch here, and you can see it's pulling pretty good there. So, I mean, I don't have to pull real hard on this. This is still wet, this skin. I just finished stitching them, so they're still wet. So you don't want to get it real tight, because what's going to happen is as it dries, it's going to tighten up. But you just want to get it kind of even all the way around. You don't want like part of it way down and part of it not. Then you're going to have a drum that's out of tune. And so I'm just going to go all the way around here. Oops. Okay, so There I am, first time around, and again, this is a good time before you get any further. You want to make sure that you're even here. I'm going to push this over a little bit. Okay, so I've got it pretty well centered. Got it even as far as being pulled around the edges. And now we're going to start the actual tensioning. You're going to go down and you're going to go around the inside and pull all of this up. This is where you can't get away from working with all the rope. Then you're going to go up and do the same thing, go up this way. The further towards the head that you get these, the more tensioning you're going to have. And you just want to get it even all the way around. You're going to go all the way around the drum. Okay, so I'm back to my original, here's my knot, where I started. I'm just going to take that around there. Now, that's the whole drum laced up. If I wanted, and I might go around one time, I could go and just tie this off and go around and just make it a little bit tighter, pull these a little bit tighter. This is pretty loose. Cotton rope, of course, is going to stretch. A few days after, depending on the tightness, regardless of how tight you get it, a few days later you're going to probably want to come back in and tighten these ropes up, because they will loosen up, they will stretch. This is the same exact technique you'll use for an Okedo drum or a shime taiko. It's all the same. Shime taiko, you'd wrap it around there a few times really tightly to put even more tension on this and get a higher pitch. I don't want that for this drum. This is a big drum, so I want kind of a big bass sound on it. You can hear that. Obviously it's going to get higher pitched as it dries out, because it's going to get tighter, the pitch is going to go up. So I'm not probably going to get too much tighter on this right now. I'll probably let it dry a couple of days and then come back and tighten it up. What you can do is you can just tie this off here. And obviously when I get completely done to where I want this, I'll cut the rope to size. Right now I'm just going to do one hitch on it. I'm going to go around, tighten it up a little bit. But this drum is pretty much done. You want to let it dry really well before playing it, obviously. If you're doing a Nagato taiko, I let those dry for a couple of weeks before I play them, which is kind of hard to keep away from them. But this one, depending on what you got the hide, within a few days you could probably play it. I'd wait a week, personally. But other than that, that is how you make a rope tension taiko, whether it be the gakko, this newer style, this big drum, an Okedo, or a shime. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Once again, special thanks to the Owasso Education Foundation for making this drum build possible for our school here in Oklahoma. And we hope you enjoyed it. Have fun with your taiko.